Good or evil? That is the question. Well, not really. Good and evil are just labels that we usually attach from a single perspective, the protagonist perspective, which most of the time is on the good side. Hello everyone, I'm Ace and today we are going to talk about evil, as well as some techniques I've used in character creation. Alright, let's get started. In most cases, that universe there has to be certain entity that desire the end of life. This is the embodiment of evil, a concept found in fairy tales and cartoons. However, if it's not refined with care, the development of the story becomes linear. A good example of this concept can be found in Avatar Legend of Korra, where, in the spirit world, there are two twin spirits, Vatu, the embodiment of evil, and Rava, the embodiment of good. Even though Vatu is not exactly the main villain of the series, he still represents evil. There isn't much to discuss about him because he is a simplistic actor who doesn't really excel at anything. Of course, that's just my opinion. Vatu is a spirit that dates back to the beginning of time, with a single goal: to destroy the spirit of light. Pretty boring and limited. Still, even though it seems like I hate it and can say it's not true, this technique can create, in right hands, exceptional characters like the Lich from Adventure Time, the antagonist so perfect for this show. He first appears as a spirit that only wants to bring evil and destruction, but over time he hides in the shadows, watching in form of a harmless snail. Well, after he is defeated 3 times, but we're not talking about this. And well, okay, he might not seem better than Vatu. He is written in a slow-paced manner, but that's exactly what makes him perfect. You never know if things will stay the same, and it reminds us that evil is always waiting to make its move. The Lich actually won only once, in the Lich, where he tricks Finn and Jake in the portal, leading him to a Prisma, entity that grants wishes, described but he wishes for the eradication of all life and is transported back to reality. In the end, he's defeated with Jake's wish, so I think. But this event leads us to an alternate episode in Fiona and Cake, where the Lich wishes was never altered. We don't really care about what's happening in this episode, but the ending is genius. The Lich recounts everything he has done in front of Globe, waiting for another purpose and hoping to be recognized. The entire behavior shifts, becoming more and more human, until in the end he turns into a strange shape with a weird charm, and everything he did was for nothing. Even though this method is very predictable, it can still create amazing characters, but you have to try to create something unique, something that can't be used just in any story. You can add a personality that in contrast with their status, or maybe give them a different goal. Play with the details and don't leave everything as just evil.
You are strong, child, but I am beyond strength. I am the end. And I have come for you, Finn.
Alright, let's move to... What the fuck? Okay, this technique is rare, but I had to include in this episode. It's more often used in creating a universe or certain atmosphere. The technique is pretty easy to use. You just have to throw in some events that everyone knows about, except for the protagonist, creating a fog of mysteries. The Tela, the name that terrifies anyone who lives in La Lugonica, is the perfect example for this method. This character was so evil that the other witches were overlooked, but Natsuki's starting point of the story. Well, as I mentioned, she appears very rarely. However, when she does, she doesn't look at all like how he is presented to us. She appears as a timid, very fragile girl who only wants to be loved, of course with a sinister aura. For now, we don't know much about her, and that's exactly the intention when using this method. Now, let's move to my favorite method, corruption. Who says someone has to be evil from the beginning? After all, even Lucifer was once an angel. Corruption is the most interesting technique through which you can create a character. This method plays with the feelings and thoughts of the audience, destroying their idea and perception of the character's action and behavior. And yeah, baby! The best example is Betelgeuse Romane Conti, an archbishop of witches, and the fact that he's the embodiment of madness is very easy to say. He's the antagonist in Arc 3 when they attacked the Mazer's mansion. Arc 3 brought chaos and turning point for the protagonist. Honestly, I hated him and I was so happy when, spoiler, I saw him dead. And season 2 hits us with another version of him, Betelgeuse, who is the complete opposite. Without giving spoilers, he is corrupted by the factor of the Witch of Sloth and goes mad after he kills, well, okay, no spoilers. Just look at how much depth this character has. Oh my god, I love this method.
この巨色の魔女の名において、あなたの覚悟と断固たる意志に怠惰の座を与えましょう。
そのようなさ、欲しているとお思いですか。今の私が欲するはただ一つ、あの母子に安寧のあらんこと。
This technique doesn't just mess with the viewer's feelings and thoughts. It can also help the main character grow, question everything they've stood for, or even turn them into the villain. Sorry for bringing up so many examples from ReZero, but there are so many well written and careful crafted characters. Alright, let's take a look at the last technique. Who said the hero can be the source of evil? This way of writing a character is truly intriguing. It breaks the classic cliche where the hero has to stop the villain. This method isn't used very often because, well, I don't really know. Maybe because it's not flexible and can be easily replicated, but if used occasionally, it can be something fresh. The main thing is that it can ruin the perfect image of the hero, making the character much more human. The example is from I'm Reading Heroine, where he clearly decides to stop being a hero and join the villain, Nikidana, the demon queen. Well, he appears as a hero who is very strong, but after defeating numerous demon kings, he becomes desperate because of this, which leads him to desire the harm of all humankind in order to save them. Well, actually, Leo seems more bothered by the fact that people excel him and are afraid of him, when things could just been left at that. But the writers use all this just to hide his deeper disdain for peace. This method breaks the cliché hero-villain relationship and creates a sense of intriguing and a fresh touch. Anyways, you can just use one idea, like the fact that the hero was exiled from the kingdom he protected, and build your antagonist from there. I don't know, it's pure story. So those were the techniques for today's episode. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and a comment with your favorite antagonist. Bye!